Before speaking about tone production and technique, we must first understand the fundamentals of breathing. This video, designed as a brief introduction to breathing, merely scratches the surface of a topic that is a constant companion to all wind players throughout our playing experiences. Air, and in essence breathing, is the basis for a strong foundation for playing any wind instrument. An efficient inhalation, free from unnecessary tension, will not only prime your respiratory system with ample air or fuel, but will also have the added benefit due to the positive internal pressure of helping with the exhalation or entrances immediately following the breaths. Another way to visualize this is by using the idea of an inflated balloon. When filled with air, the balloon's internal pressure becomes more significant than the pressure outside of it. This unevenness of pressure is why the air wants to escape the balloon to reach a point of equilibrium when released. Exhalation, or the release of air and its qualities, are the most definitive aspect of playing a wind instrument, since nearly every feature of a note, such as sound, shape, articulation, body, stability, intonation, and color, directly correlate to the quality of air going into the instrument. As such, breathing exercises are an essential and worthwhile step towards developing healthy inhalation and exhalation habits. There are numerous breathing exercises to develop an efficient and comfortable breathing process. The following 3 exercises present a small sample of ways to develop a direct relationship between your breathing and the instrument. As you do these exercises, maintain the following cues as guiding principles. 1. Stay as relaxed as possible, meaning only engage those muscles directly involved in breathing, such as the diaphragm, intercostals, abdominals, oblique, etc. 2. Realize that most muscle engagement will happen naturally or involuntarily, so don't overthink. You're already an expert breather. The breaths you take when you yawn, before you sneeze, and following a demanding exercise routine are the same breaths we're trying to emulate. 3. Fill the entirety of your lung capacity. Although we can't control where the air goes, much like we can't fill a balloon from the bottom up, we can still use the bottom-up analogy to give us a tactile response to our breathing. I like to think of breathing in 3 parts: bottom, up, and out. The third part, out, challenges us to expand beyond that initial breath. You'll see during the second exercise that there is almost always more space for expansion. Without introducing tension, the out connects the top of the breath to the release, preventing any unintentional holding or capping of the breath ahead of a release. This quote by the late Chicago Symphony tubist and educator Arnold Jacobs simplifies some of these concepts. Breathe to expand, and don't expand to breathe. In other words, look past the mechanics of inhalation and allow the air to naturally move the body to the full and expanded position. And 4, as you release the air, aim for an immediate attack and proportional follow-through. What I mean by this is that the attack or release of the air should be the same as the body of the note. An overly emphatic attack will result in a note shape resembling an accented note. Whereas a passive release will lead to a sneaking in or blossoming of the note. Whatever your initial release is, make sure that the body of the note matches it. And lastly, as you exhale, maintain support. The exhale shouldn't be a passive activity. When doing breathing exercises, long tones, or sustains in an ensemble, I like to imagine that my air is supporting a leaning wall. The goal is to support. I'm neither pushing the wall over by increasing my air, nor allowing it to fall towards me by losing support and becoming passive. Instead, the aim is to maintain steady air movement and support the wall. Now, before we dive into these 3 exercises, I would like to thank Carol Jansch for allowing me to use several of her concepts when putting this presentation together. The first exercise is all about relaxation and air management. There should always be air movement, either inhaling or exhaling. The goal is to be completely full by the end of the breath, either a steady 4-count breath, a faster 2-count breath, or a slow but evenly metered 8-count breath. Whatever the case, be immediate in your shift of energy, going from the out to the in. Lastly, ensure that the 8 counts out is smooth and even throughout. Remember, air management. All right, so for exercise number 1, I have my metronome set to 80 beats per minute, and we're going to let it go for 4 clicks, and then we're going to begin with the inhale. The second exercise is intended to bring awareness to your full expansion potential. You may find that the first several times through this that your sips are rather large, but hopefully as your breaths become more efficient, you will be closer to your total lung capacity at the end of each 4-count breath. Following the 4-count breath, hold or keep the air in your lungs without releasing it. As indicated, on the 4 end, take 2 short but deliberate breaths. Take the repeat as many times as needed, but always remember, quality over quantity. So for the second exercise, I once again have my metronome set to 80 beats per minute, and we're going to do the repeated section twice. At the end of the second time through, after the final 2 sips, just let the air out in a relaxed fashion. 4 clicks, and then we start with the inhalation. And lastly, the third and final exercise, meant to simulate a more realistic performance breath. This exercise should again have continuous air movement with the added interruption of the tongue, also known as an air pattern. For this exercise, strive for as full of a breath as possible each time. Whether you have 2 beats, 1 beat, an 8th or 16th rest to do it, make sure that each breath is as full as possible. All right, and for the third and final exercise, I again have my metronome set to 80 beats per minute, and we're going to let it go 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, and then we're going to be silent for the first 2, and we're going to take a 2-count inhale prior to starting the exercise. Let's go ahead and do the repeated section 2 times through prior to continuing on to the end. Here we go, 4 clicks, then we rest for 1, 2, and breathe on 3, 4. So a 2-count preparatory breath.